Volkswagen needed to replace the CC. It came up with the very striking Arteon, and we've been lucky enough to have one in our long-term fleet for 6 months. Driving it for 6 months has been our editor, Terence Steenkamp. Terence, obviously, like I said, very striking at first glance, but tell us more about the car that we've had for 6 months.
So this is the 2-litre TDI R-Line model. In the middle of the range, there's an Elegance at the entry level, and then the 2-litre TSI R-Line as a flagship. It's been a great car to drive for 6 months, mainly because of the looks. I think it's stunning. It's one of the best looking big sedans on the market, even though it's priced to compare with Merc C-Class, BMW 3 Series, Audi A4. It's a lot bigger than they are, but very, very elegant, like lovely long flowing lines.
So I see we have the Arteon in the R-Line trim here. What exactly does that give this car?
So mainly the Arteon R-Line comes with a body kit, so deeper front and rear spoilers, deeper sills, 19-inch wheels instead of 18s on that Elegance model. This one has the optional 20s on it. It's got LED headlamps, adaptive cruise control, a big panoramic sunroof, so quite a lot of kit on the R-Line.
Okay, cool. And with the design, obviously there was a lot of focus placed in the interior as well, so let's go take a look at that.
Great.
Terence, first thing to point out is that this design is very clean and modern, and the perceived quality also seems pretty good. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's typically VW design, very straightforward, very user-friendly. I found the perceived quality excellent. This car has over 11,000 k's on the clock. It still feels very solid. There are lots of little lovely squishy plastics, lots of glossy black plastics, which I didn't love because they attract dirt quite a bit, but a very easy, straightforward fascia to use, despite the fact that this car actually has a very long list of standard features.
Okay, cool. Well, with that being said, let's take it for a drive.
Great.
So before we get into the way this car drives and stuff, what are the highlight features for you in this car in terms of the spec?
So I love the fact that the car has sat-nav as standard, which in an age of Google Maps and Waze, I know a lot of people use their smartphones. I still find it a little bit more convenient if it's on a screen. It's also relayed onto the digital instrumentation, so you can have the whole map there. On the head-up display, which is optional in this model. This car also had the optional DIN audio sound system, which is quite punchy. Great, like the seats are so comfortable. They're called ergo comfort items. They're standard on the R-Line. They're electrically adjustable. They're heated, which I ended up using quite a bit in Cape Town winter. I've never had a long termo with heated seats, and I've found it so luxurious.
It's quite a luxury, yeah.
It also has a massaging function on mine, which I didn't actually really use. But all the basic spec items you would want from a car costing almost 700,000 Rand. Certainly, yeah.
One thing I have to point out sitting in here now is that this car is surprisingly spacious.
It's enormous. I mean, it's closer in size to something like an E-Class and a 5 Series than it is to a C and a 3 Series.
Okay.
And loads of rear legroom. We measured it at 780 millimeters in the back, which is far beyond anything in that mid-size class. The boot equally is big, over 400 liters of storage. Because it's actually a hatchback, even though I keep referring to it as a sedan because it looks like one. You can fold the seats. There's quite a lot of depth, so easily fit 3 massive suitcases. It's a proper family car.
Touching on that, so this is the TDI,
Yeah.
which is the turbo diesel. Has that been a really great engine to use on a daily basis?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, my fuel consumption is lower than I expected, certainly. I live in the city in Cape Town, and I'm stuck in a lot of traffic on the way to work and back, and it's a big, heavy car. I was really expecting it to be heavier, but overall, the 6 months we ended up on 7.37 liters per 100, which is exceptional. And on a fairly large fuel tank, my range was often over 1,000 kilometers after refueling, which, if you like me and you don't love going to a filling station, is fantastic, especially on longer trips. You could easily drive halfway across the country on one tank of fuel. The engine is great. It's a little bit gruffer than I would like, but I also think that's got something to do with the rest of the car being so refined. So you end up hearing it a little bit more. But it's VW's 2-liter TDI engine. It's used in a lot of their cars. Here it develops 130 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters. It's coupled with DSG dual clutch box, and the whole works really well together.
Obviously, addressing the elephant in the room now, you can't actually buy this in South Africa anymore.
Yeah, that's the sad thing. Just as we went to print with the wrap-up feature, and I mean days before you and I were shooting this video, VW SA confirmed that they were pulling all the turbodiesel Arteons from sale. So the only model now remaining is the 2-liter TSI. They're citing low demand. I mean, this car sells in small numbers as it is, and it seems like a lot of people are going for the 2-liter TSI. I don't know if you remember, we had a test car last year. That one did 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds. So you're getting like Golf GTI R type of performance, and I think that's appealing for a lot of people.
Yeah. So the car that we have here today with the R-Line kit has got a bit of a sportier suspension, and it has the optional 20-inch wheels. How has that been with regards to the car's ride?
It's certainly a little bit firm, especially at the low speed we're doing now in town. It can knock through a little bit to the cabin. Once it gets up to speed, like a lot of German cars actually, you do get the impression that they tend to be designed for Autobahn speeds more than anything. And Germany has fantastically smooth roads anyway. It becomes a lot cushier, it's really smooth. It's certainly livable, and it's in no ways firmer, I would say, than a 3 Series on the M Sport setup. But it does, I think you tend to look at the outside and it looks really classy and sleek, and it's this big comfortable family car, and then you drive it and the ride does come as a bit of a surprise.
So to finish it off, by VW standards, a pretty niche product, but as a sedan, quite accomplished.
Yeah, fantastically accomplished. It's been a real pleasure driving this car for 6 months. I love sedans. I think they are hugely underrated. Everyone's going SUV crossover, but in terms of driving dynamics, in terms of space inside, looks, it's great, and it's a really interesting alternative to something like a BMW 320d, a Mercedes-Benz C220d. Yeah, just a fantastic car actually.
With the TDI model now being discontinued, do you think this would be a decent second-hand buy?
I think it's going to be a great second-hand buy. Big models from the more mainstream manufacturers like VW and Toyota and the French brands tend to suffer like quite a lot of depreciation. It's going to be the case for this one as well. I've been looking around. A year-old model already will cost you about 500,000 with very few kilometers on the clock. It comes with a full 5-year 100,000k maintenance plan. I personally would give it another year or two, and then you could probably get one for not much more than a Polo.
Okay.